matuto! For today's video, let us discuss joint variation. What is a joint variation? So it is a variation where a variable varies directly as a product of two or more variables. So kagaya lamang ito ng direct variation, but instead, ito ay product ng two or more variables. The statement y varies jointly as x and z means y is equal to k times x times z. So kagaya ng nabanggit kanina, kagaya lamang ito ng direct variation, but it involves two or more variables na kung saan ang y natin ay naka-isolate pa din and then equal sa imumultiply natin si k or yung constant doon sa ating two variables, si x and z. So the reason why we have y is equal to kxz, wherein k is still the constant of the variation and k should not be equal to 0. Now, let us take a look on these two equations. So, ito yung dalawang equations na mahalaga in solving joint variation. First, y is equal to k times x times z. And second, k is equal to y divided by x times z. Itong padalawang equation is the formula in finding the constant of the variation, wherein y varies jointly as x and z. Let us have an example of a situation that involves joint variation. So the best example for it is the area of the rectangle. So we all know that the area is equal to length times width. So meaning to say, the area of the rectangle varies jointly with the length and the width, wherein ang constant of the variation is equal to 1. Kasi ang ating formula, or when we translate it into mathematical statement, that will be A is equal to KL width. So that is the mathematical translation of the joint variation. Now let us translate each statement into an equation. Use K for the constant of the variation. 1. A varies jointly with B and the square of C. So, yung una nating variable na nabanggit, yun yung i-isolate natin sa left side of the equation. And then, yung mga sumunod na variables would be the variables that will be multiplied to our K or yung constant. So, that will be equal to A is equal to KBC squared. Or, A is equal to the product of K, B, and square of C. Next statement. M varies jointly as N and the square root of P. So, how are we going to translate it into an equation? So, yung M, i-isolate natin. So, yun ay magiging M is equal to, and then multiply the remaining variables doon sa ating constant. So, K times N and the square root of P. So, we have M is equal to K and square root of P. So, there you go. Next, the electrical voltage V varies jointly as the current I and the resistance R. So, alin dito yung i-isolate natin? Okay, so the first variable, and that is V. So, varies jointly equals, multiply natin sa constant yung dalawang variable. Alin yon? We have I and R. So, we have V is equal to K, I, R, which means the current and the resistance. So that is how we translate verbal statement into a variation statement or into an equation, wherein K is the constant of the variation. Now let us solve problems involving joint variation. Given that y varies jointly as x squared and z, find the constant of variation when y is equal to 225, wherein x is equal to 3 and z is equal to 4. So, dito hinahanap natin ay ang constant of the variation or yung k. So, what are we going to do? So, let us first translate it into mathematical statement. So, y varies jointly as x squared and z. So, isusulat lang natin si x squared and z and then imumultiply natin kay k or yung constant. So, ito yung magiging equation natin. And then, we are going to substitute the values given in our problem to our variation equation. So, we have yung y natin is equal to 225 is equal to k. Okay, wala namang value, yun ang hinahanap natin. And then, si x squared, which is 3 squared, and z is equal to 4. So, sinubstitute lamang natin. Then, simplify. So, k is equal to 3 squared is equal to 9, and then multiplied by 4. Then, simplified again. 9 times 4 is equal to 36 multiplied by k. I-bring down lang natin si 225. Then, in order to solve for k, we need to divide both sides by, okay, very good. So, that is by 36. Okay? So, after dividing it by 36, so we have 36k divided by 36 is equal to k. 225 divided by 36 is, ayan, 25 over 4. Since hindi naman natin siya kayang i-divide exactly yung 225 and 36. So, di-divide na lang natin both side by 9 kasi parehas silang divisible by 9. This time, let us solve the given problem or the constant of the variation using another method, and that is by using the formula in finding the constant. So, gamitin ulit natin yung ating given problem. So, that would be, ang k natin will be equal to y divided by x squared c. So, yan po yung ginagamit nating formula in finding for the constant. Ibig sabihin, ito na yung gagamitin natin. Ano? So, let us just substitute the values, the given values to our equation, to our formula of the constant. So, we can have, ano ba yung ating value ng k is equal to y? Ano ba yung value natin ng y? Yan, 225. And then, x is 3 squared times, ang z natin ay 4. So, times 4. So, we just need to simplify it. So, 3 squared is equal to 9. And then, times 4. Yan. So, we have k is equal to 225. 9 times 4 is equal to 36. So, again, we just need to get the lowest term of 225 and 36 by dividing both sides by 9. So, we can have k is equal to 25 over 4. So, that is just the same as doon sa ating method 1. So, pares lang yung ating mag-again. Now, let us try another problem. So, if Q is jointly proportional to R and S, and Q is equal to 6 when R is 3, and S is equal to 4, find Q when R is equal to 7 and S is equal to 2. So, this time, hindi lamang constant of the variation ang hinahanap natin, hindi lamang si K, kundi hinahanap din natin ang value daw ng Q kapag ang R ay equals to 7 at S ay equals to 2 after considering yung una nating statement. So first, ang gagawin natin is to formulate the variation statement or yung equation natin. So Q is equal to KRS kasi sabi dyan, Q is jointly proportional to R and S. So imumultiply lamang natin yung RS sa ating constant. Okay? So that would be our equation or the mathematical statement of the joint variation. Q is equal to KRS. Now, we will substitute yung value nung una muna nating statement mula doon sa if Q is jointly proportional to R and S hanggang doon sa ating S is equal to 4. Okay? So, ang Q natin ay 6, K times ang ating R is 3, and then ang S natin is, ayan, 4. Now, let us simplify. So, we have 3 times 4 is equal to, ayan, so 12. So, ibig sabihin, yung 12 ay imumultiply lamang natin kay constant. So, we have 6 is equal to 12k. And then, in order to solve for k, we need to divide both sides by 12. So, makakancel na natin siya. So, makukuha na natin ang value na k. Constant is equal to 1. 6 divided by 12 is when we get its lowest term is equal to 1/2. So, importante na mahanap muna natin ang constant of variation gamit yung unang mga given natin. No? Given values sa ating problem. Ngayon, pwede na nating hanapin yung hinahanap. Find Q when R is 7 and S is equal to 2 gamit yung constant na nakuha natin. So that will be Q is equal to KRS. Ang K natin is equal to 1/2 kasi yun ang constant natin. Times R is equal to 7 dahil yun ang given doon sa ating hinahanap. And S is equal to 2. Ano daw kaya ang value ng Q kapag ang R ay 7, ang S ay 2 at ang constant ay 1/2? So, simplify natin. 7 times 2 is equal to 14. So, 14 times 1/2 is equal to what? Ayan. So, that's good. Q is equal now to 14 divided by 2. And 14 divided by 2 is equal to 7. Very good. So, therefore, Q is equal to 7 kapag ang ating R is 7 and S is 2, given the constant of the variation which is equal to 1/2. Okay. Now, let us use the second method in solving for the given problem. So, gamitin natin yung Q is equal to KRS. So, gaya kanina, in order to solve for the formula or derive yung formula ng constant, i-divide lamang natin yung RS kay Q. So, constant is equal to Q divided by RS. Now, let us substitute the given values. Constant muna nga hanapin natin. So, constant is equal to 6. Ang Q natin ay 6. And then, R is 3 times S is 4. Yan, simplify natin. We have 6 divided by 3 times 4 is 12. So, 6 divided by 12. And then, ang constant natin, therefore, is equal to, 6 divided by 12 is 1/2. Okay? So, dinivide lamang natin by 2 parehas kasi yun yung, by 6 parehas kasi yun yung kanyang common divisible numbers. So, K is equal to 1/2. So, therefore, nahanap na natin si constant. Ano na ang sunod natin gagawin? Ayan. We need to find Q when R is 7 and S is 2. So, substitute lamang natin yung ating values dun sa ating equation. So, 1/2 times 7 times 2. Same process lamang ng ginawa natin kanina. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 times 1/2 is equal to 14 over 2. And 14 divided by 2 is equal to 7. So, therefore, Q is equal to 7. Okay? If you notice, parehas lamang siya na nakuha natin kanina. So, meaning to say, kahit anong method ay okay. So, this is the end of my video tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot. So, please don't forget to subscribe for more video updates.